I'm Robbie, and this is my co-founder, David. We've been working on our project Dhali for around 8 months now. We're an XRPL Wave 5 grantee, and we're really excited to be showing our project to you. So we'll just give you a quick kind of idea of some of the problems that we've seen ourselves as well when you're trying to create a tech company. We'll go through how Dhali can maybe fit into this and help out. We'll explain to you kind of how it works. We'll give you some demos, and then we'll go through some next steps for our project. So let's jump in. So this is how we kind of see the world at the moment if you want to create a company. Basically, economic barriers exist everywhere. And this can be especially hard in certain countries because access to financial infrastructure can be limited, and it can just be harder to do international business. Also, creating a tech company is hard. There are lots of SaaS companies now to help with this, but there's still a really long journey between a fun proof of concept you make in your spare time and a fully fledged business where you're offering enterprise-grade services to an international audience.
I'm sorry, we've lost our image now. So if you're trying to create a technology company, there are going to be a lot of technical specialist technical skills that you'll need. So you'll need to understand how to deploy solutions, effectively host them. You'll want them to scale effectively to serve a global audience. And you're going to have to be concerned about security, of course, as well. Also, you're going to have to deal with payments and monetization. So payment service providers, like Stripe, Square, and PayPal, they'll go some way towards alleviating problems on this front, but these guys, they're going to charge you a fee. They're going to charge you typically 1.5% and 3%. They're going to take control away from your payment processes. And thirdly, this is something that's happened to me. I know it's happened to other people in the crypto space, is you run the risk of having your account frozen. So that's obviously very frustrating if you're trying to run a tech company or a company in general. So by 2030, the payment service provider industry is expected to reach about $155.7 billion in size. And we really think at Dhali that it's $155.7 billion of financial friction. And it's something we want to help reduce as we move forwards.
Thanks. And perhaps one of the more daunting parts of making a company is actually finding customers. This can be quite hard if you're new to a market. Maybe you don't have a big network you can leverage. And again, it can be even harder if you're operating in certain countries. Somebody kind of needs to solve all these problems we've been talking about, and it's not normally just you. So you might hire some more people or pay for some normally quite expensive services. And this takes upfront investment, and it can delay your project by months before it's even off the ground. And this kind of had us asking ourselves, can't we just focus on building the core product, doing the stuff we're interested in, and not be held back by all of this? Ideally, we want a world where, with kind of minimal barriers to entry and time to market, we can seamlessly take an idea and just make it into a company. And this is why we really like technology like the XRP ledger, because irrespective of your background, your resources, your network, you have the same opportunities as everybody else. And this is kind of, I think, what we need to build this vision.
So our mission at Dhali, it's really threefold. So we're trying to democratize access to technology for people. We want to remove barriers to entry for people that are trying to get into the market. And we want to reduce time to market for everybody. So what are we doing? We're building an API marketplace. And our goal is to make code monetization accessible to everyone. So we don't want people to have to worry about hosting, scaling, deployment, security, crucially, monetization of the things that they've developed. And also, we're going to give people's APIs global reach. So we're sort of offering a Web3 experience with what we've developed. So our users, they don't need to sign up, they don't need to register. All they really need is a crypto wallet. And we sort of think of Web3 as being a little bit like walking into a supermarket. When you walk in, you don't get frisked, you don't have to sign a contract or anything like that. You just walk in, pick up what you want from the shelf, take it to the checkout, and pay for it as you leave. So this is the sort of experience that we want to recreate with API consumption on our marketplace.
Thanks. So we'll just explain to you how Dhali works as well. Basically, as developers, or as we say, web service creators, we upload our projects to Dhali, and these get exposed as web services. And in return for this, we get an NFT on the XRP ledger. So this actually entitles us to two things. Firstly, it gives us administrative rights over the project on Dhali. And secondly, it actually entitles us to all future cash flow generated by that when it's consumed as a web service. And to do this, as soon as it's available on Dhali, other users can just stream micropayments to us, and all they need to really do is embed appropriate information for the payment in their request header. So we validate this off ledger, and provided that's good, you get your API results, and the NFT holder, they get the earnings from that usage of the web service. So this has an interesting property, which is, you might have noticed, there was no logins mentioned there, no API keys being passed around. The payment itself, that thing is actually being cryptographically signed by the user's wallet when they're creating the request. So we kind of just use that as authentication. No need for these credentials or anything, which is a lot simpler. And yeah, and as well, no subscriptions are really needed. People just pay for what they use when they use it. So we mentioned before that we make use of NFTs and payment channels. We'll just go through in a bit more detail why we're doing that. So why NFTs? The main attraction for us was that using NFTs enables these web services to kind of move between people's accounts without our intervention. So maybe somebody's got a few projects on Dhali, and they want to move on to something else. You don't want to have it forever. Maybe you want to sell it on to somebody else and they can take it over. That's the kind of use case we're looking to support. And yeah, NFTs lend themselves well to this. You can chop and change your web services. And yeah, it's great because NFTs, you have a kind of global audience for your sale. So again, you're not really limited by your resources or your network or where you're operating. Everybody can buy it if they need. And it's our hope that this can kind of simplify the sale of software assets in the future. Another nice benefit is it kind of enables us to plug this ownership mechanism into the XRP ledger. And this is nice because we think it gives us some security benefits. So we don't actually impose any particular wallet provider on users, and we're adding support for others too. And in fact, we don't really know anything about our users. We don't store information about them. All we can do is observe the current state of the XRP ledger. And this really limits what a bad actor can do, because they can't tamper with the state of the XRP ledger, and we don't act as a weak link for our users' personal information.
So yeah, Robbie spoke about our use of NFTs in the XRP ledger. We're also using payment channels pretty extensively. The reason that we're using these is so that we can keep transaction costs very, very low. Payment payment channels basically enable cryptographically secure off-ledger transactions. There's a nice video on YouTube, advanced payment features of the XRPL. Recommend give that a watch if you're interested. So we sort of think of payment channels as being a little bit like a shared locked box of money between two transacting parties. So when the parties want to transact with each other, rather than sort of taking money from the box and handing it over to the person that they're transacting with, they just exchange keys with each other on a separate channel. And then these keys can be used at a later date to pull the money that you're owed from the shared locked box of money. Does that make sense? So in terms of transaction flow on the XRP ledgers, typically 3 steps that you go through. So step 1 is you submit a payment channel create transaction. This is a little bit like preparing your locked box of money. Step 2, this then all happens off ledger. You sign and exchange claims with the person that you're transacting with. You can do this as many times as you want, within the limits of what's contained within the payment channel. And then step 3 is you submit another payment channel claim transaction to the XRP ledger, which allows you to pull what you're owed from the payment channel. So the effect of this is that the sort of arbitrarily many transactions that took place in step 2, they get reduced into exactly 2 transactions that are submitted to the XRP ledger. So 1 for creating and a second for claiming. And this is good because it keeps transaction costs low. Transactions that are submitted to the XRP ledger cost a small amount of money, so if you can remove as many as possible from being submitted to the ledger, that's great. So this is a view of the XRP ledger. It's a very rich image. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Each node that you see, this is just a big graph. Each node that you see in the graph corresponds to an XRP ledger account. And there are edges between accounts as well that correspond to transactions that have taken place between accounts. So you can see from this image, there's a lot of stuff going on, which sort of suggests we're doing a good job as a community. So that's great. However, if we take a different view of the XRP ledger, so we're now zooming in so these are nodes that have been involved in a payment channel transaction. So you can see there's a lot less stuff going on here, which is maybe a bit of a shame given that we're using payment channels. But yeah, hopefully we'll come back in a couple of years' time and we'll show you a different image that will look a lot more rich.
Thank you. So we mentioned before that we were using a Web3 approach, and we just thought it would be interesting to show you what it would have been like if we hadn't done that. So the first problem that we would have hit was to actually use a system in Web2, like a paid service, you kind of need to be banked. This can be a bit of a challenge if you're a company, especially if you're a new tech company and you're working in a bit of a speculative area or you work with crypto. This was our experience. We actually had money coming into our company and we needed a bank account to pay it into, and we still really struggled to find a bank that would take us on as a customer. Whereas with Web3, to get started, all you need is a funded crypto wallet. So credentials, registration, API tokens, these are all kind of hallmark features of a Web2 ecosystem. Again, you don't really have these kind of issues with Web3, this complexity, because all you need, again, is a funded crypto wallet, and you can just authenticate with your payments. We discussed before as well some of the issues with payment service providers. In the Web3 world, we just have all this blockchain technology, and it's typically pretty cheap. It's quite efficient. It's open and inclusive. And yeah, it just doesn't really have any of those negatives. So finally, vendor lock-ins, subscriptions, and subscriptions are very real. Subscription fatigue is a very real problem. I guess subscriptions as well, maybe. I think I read recently the average internet user has like 9 subscriptions, and we definitely don't want to be contributing to that if we can avoid it. And also opaque charging structures. So because with Web3, typically everything's just kind of happening on open, publicly auditable blockchains. Everything's just kind of transparent. And because the space is evolving so quickly, you tend to get lots more innovations. And we've just kind of found it's lent itself really well to just building flexible, on-demand systems. So we thought it would be good to just very quickly show you how you can create something on Dhali. And so we've got this snippet, and you'll see it consists of 2 steps. So our first step, and we're looking to maybe change this to make it simpler, is you just clone our template. And you'll find within our template there is an infer method, like in step 2. And it's our job as developers to basically implement that. And that normally means parsing the input for your use case. And we're kind of doing a computer vision use case. Pretend there's lots of clever code where we've got that comment. We just made it small so it looks nice. But yeah, maybe you then pre-process your input, you give it to a network for like a recognition task, and that's kind of it. So we have a Docker file in our template at the moment, and you might need to tweak that a little bit for your use case. It just depends. But you can use that to build a Docker image, which is what you can upload to our marketplace, and that's it. People can start using it. So if you are interested in doing this, we recommend that you look at our documentation, just because that gives you a full step-by-step tutorial.
So I think we want our video playing. So the fun. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so this is a quick demo of what it actually looks like to deploy into our marketplace. So we were just on the landing page there. This is our marketplace. So the first thing we need to do is to activate a crypto wallet. So we're going to generate a new test wallet there. We get some keywords downloaded for us, which we can use later to reinstantiate the wallet. We've got this Dhali balance, which is currently loading. This is going to show 0 XRP. This is sort of identifying we've got 0 XRP in a payment channel. So we're going to fund it with 2 XRP now. And once this is funded, we'll have a couple of XRP in the payment channel, and we'll be able to use Dhali. So funded, and we'll move over to my APIs. You can see at the moment, we don't have any APIs. This is a brand new crypto wallet, so we're going to create a new one. So we'll give it a name. We'll have it be hosted by Dhali. Click Next. Specify an earnings rate. This sort of identifies how much you'll earn when other people use your web service. Click Next. We've got to select a tar file. So Robbie spoke to how you can build the tar file a moment ago. That's what you upload. We'll select some documentation, and we'll click Next. This will get scanned. We have a limit on image size at the moment. We get presented with this table of costs. So this shows you how much it's going to cost to deploy, and it shows you how much you're going to earn when other people use your web service. We'll click Yes. This has been sped up a little bit, and it's deployed. So we go back to our My APIs page, and we've got a new web service in this page. We click on it. We can check out the documentation. What we'll do, though, is we'll quickly move over to we'll take a look at the classic address on the XRPL Explorer. So we'll just search for that here, and we'll scroll down, and you'll see we've now got this NFT in our wallet. So this was minted by Dhali. It was sent to our wallet, and it contains this UUID. This is how Dhali uniquely identifies the NFT with the web service. So the fact that we own the NFT means that when other people use the web service, we'll get paid for it. If someone else wanted to get paid for it, we'd move the NFT to them. So Robbie spoke about creating web services. Just quickly touch on what it looks like to consume a web service. And again, we want to generalize this going forward. But at the moment, requests, they always take the following form. So they're put requests. They take a header payment claim argument. This is basically just a cryptographic claim against a payment channel that Dhali will use to pull XRP from that payment channel. And we've got an input argument as well. In the example that Robbie spoke to before, we were talking about a computer vision application. So if you were consuming that type of web service, your input would probably be an image. So it's pretty general. So this is a demo of what it looks like to consume something from Dhali. It's a speech-to-text demo. So we're going to be streaming XRP up in real time in exchange for speech-to-text functionality. So we'll see that now.
By using our platform, we can stream micropayments in real time to access applications on demand. You can see we've spent a few thousandths of an XRP so far. This is all happening off ledger.
So yeah, just a quick demo. And I guess finally, conclusions. So the next steps for us, at the moment, we're built on top of the XRPL testnet. We're going to be transitioning to the prodnet, hopefully in the next month, we'll see. That being said, we're still looking for users right now, so if anyone wants to get on our platform, test things out, and give us some feedback, that'd be really appreciated. Check out our docs page. Robbie mentioned it a moment ago. There's a lot of details there. And also, we're open to collaborating with you guys, the XRPL community. So if anyone has an idea for a web service that they'd like to monetize using the XRP ledger, that'd be great. So some examples might be a crypto-powered ChatGPT alternative. So something that you can stream XRP up to in exchange for ChatGPT-like functionality. Node as a service. Again, that's something we could do. Stable diffusion QR codes. Again, we could do that. The list is almost endless here. And yeah, thanks. This is a QR code. It can be a bit sketchy in certain lightings. Hopefully it works for you. If not, it takes you to our landing page. And we've got our Twitter handle here, Dhali_IO. You can follow us, info@dhali.io. We've got a Discord server as well. You find it on our landing page. Thanks.
Thanks very much.